Welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. Oh boy, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. And do I have a quick story for you? If you knew how quickly we had to put this broadcast together, you would be shocked. So, everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. We'll introduce Eric in a minute. We got Jordan back from Mexico City. He was down there for a couple days having a blast. And guys, we just wanted to thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment with us today. If not, and you miss it, the on demand will be up after this show today. We'll give Eric a link and he can push it out there. But here we go. So Tuesday night, Beth from Cat Free was ready to come on the broadcast. I'd already pushed it out. Go to YouTube. Everybody's invited to come watch Beth talk about Cat Free mitigation. And I get this little simple text that says, "Hey, Herdy, I forgot. I have to fly out Thursday at 3 p.m. But Eric's standing here, and I suckered him into coming on. Is that okay?" And I went, sure. So I was able to get with Eric and get his logo set up, KBC Construction. We're talking Eric Trotter today, and he was kind enough to come on and jump on. He's in his truck on Wi-Fi today. He's a busy guy. But Jordan, some good news for you. I want to thank everybody for being on the Halloween show. We had 6 businesses, Eric, dress up in costumes, and we just talked about our witch's brew, our favorite witch's brew, our favorite haunted house. Would you stay in a graveyard for $1,000 by yourself at night? Blah blah blah, stuff like that. Okay,
Absolutely.
And we had some creepy music. So anyhow, Eric Trotter is with KBC Construction. And Jordan, real quickly, we're now up to almost 15,000 views on the channel since we launched in March. We're now at 45 watch time hours, and 2,500 people are watching every 28 days.
Wow.
And it's local. We're not. It's on YouTube, but it's a local show, so we're pretty pleased with that. So, Eric, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, I've known Eric ever since I joined the Mansfield Network Group about 2 years ago. Eric's gotten so busy, he hasn't been able to get there lately, and he's got a lot on his plate. But, man, he's a cool guy, and I'm looking forward to going through some questions today. But, Eric, before we get started with your main business questions, Jordan, are you ready for a little bit of this? Let's jump right into our ice. All right, we're back. Jordan, tell us real quick. Did you have fun in Mexico City?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Dia de los Muertos parade was insane, by the way. It's a 4-hour parade, which 2 hours of it is nonstop parade going on. Like, it literally.
I thought you were going to say drinking, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Mexico, right? Like, that's implied. It's just crazy, like 2 hours of parade going in front of you. Like, after the first hour, you're like, this is going to keep going. Hour and a half, you're like, my legs hurt. 2 hours into it, you're like, oh my God, finally it's over. Because it is wild. I mean, at one point, they had a marching band. I want to say it was made out of 800 people, all dressed up in skeleton like outfits, like a mariachi outfit with like skeleton painted heads, all playing drums, marching in front of you like nonstop. It was insane. It's just like they keep going and going. When you think there's no way there's more, like you're only halfway through it. It was incredible.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. And so you get to jump right in with the first icebreaker question, Jordan, for Eric. And this is how, by the way, this is how we introduce our guests. We kind of keep this kitchen table talk kind of conversation. So we always like to surprise our guests. So Jordan, I'm going to put it up, but I'll let you take over.
Yes. Let me rearrange this so we
There we go. Let's highlight him.
Spotlight. Dude, first, this is, I feel like this is a bonding question, man. What was your first car?
1969 Chevrolet C10.
Ooh.
Wow. 1969.
Yep.
And what, can I ask you what grade you were
White
in then when you got?
maroon bottom. 10th. I was a
10th?
sophomore.
Man, you got a car as a sophomore?
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
I had to. It's time to drive.
That's right. That's right. I gotcha. That was the era of muscle cars too, which a lot of people don't realize because that's the same era I was in.
Herdy, I don't think it was.
You know,
I don't think he got it on 68.
No, I don't think.
no, didn't get it then, but
I didn't think he did.
I got
either.
lots of compliments on that truck. I got a ton of compliments on that truck for forever.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has that one that they say they should have never got rid of. That was it.
And
I was going to ask you what happened to it.
As a senior, I wanted a new car. So we got rid of it and got something new.
Oh, and let me guess, you traded it into the dealership.
No. It was a private sale.
Okay, well, at least you did that.
That's the one that got away for sure.
That's cool. Actually, Herdy, what was your first car?
Oh gosh.
Did it start with a T?
Okay, so 1969. That was the era of the starting of the muscle cars. But my dad was a conservative engineer at IBM, so I learned to drive a manual shift in an English Ford, a Pinto, and a Gremlin.
A Gremlin.
But the other two favorite cars I didn't tell you about was the Datsun Convertible 2000 and a Bug-Eye Sprite that we restored. My dad restored when he was a mechanical engineer at IBM. It had the 2 seats with the slide windows, little 4-speed on the floor. It was unbelievable. So I drove the Bug-Eye Sprite quite a bit. Cool car. You didn't want to get a hit in it, but it was a cool car. All right. And then band-wise.
Band-wise, man, it goes up and down. I'll listen to anything. I really will. I'm kind of, just blend in. But as of right now, I'm listening to a lot of Zach Top. He's a little mainstream right now, or getting to that point, but he's pretty good right now.
I love it. And
I see it. And then for this one, please tell us something we don't know about you.
Man, in high school, I was kind of a jerk. Nobody would think it now, but I was kind of a jerk. Reserved.
And he's really not. So.
And I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm very personable now.
Nicest guy in the world, man. Outgoing, loves to talk to meet people and all that stuff. That's cool. See, I would have never known that. Since I've known you. So that's pretty cool.
It's a little different now. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what changed? What was the because typically there's like at one point where you're like, oh wow, yeah, I probably shouldn't be like that anymore.
I started waiting tables. And you didn't have a choice but to be happy and nice and smile and do all of it. And I really just got to the point where I was like, well, I could be mean, but then I have to face those people I was mean to.
Yeah.
So I just
so you're saying if you want to get over your jerkness, your 3rd degree jerkness, then go become a waiter at a restaurant, right?
Absolutely. Chili's made me a happy person.
There you go. I love that. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, he is Eric is on his Wi-Fi in his truck, and so we're virtual too. So we've already told everybody in the listening audience, if we lose you, Eric, for some reason at all, just click the link again. We'll jump you back in. Okay. So
Okay.
this is the challenge we have, but everything's perfect so far. I just thought I'd throw that out there. So Jordan, back to you, sir.
Yes, definitely. And want to definitely underscore that the Mansfield bus is a mobile show. So, I mean, we
Yes.
literally got you on a truck and it's working.
Yes.
I've taken a show from outside a coffee shop.
when Beth-
I've taken it from Mexico. You're sitting on a truck. Actually, where are you?
I'm actually in Joshua. We're doing a checklist for a realtor right now. So an inspection report came back, and they have, a ton of stuff on a inspection report that needs to be fixed before they sell or close on the house. So
Awesome.
that's what we're over here doing.
Perfect.
Doing all the little things to make the house close.
That's awesome. I love that about this show. No matter where you are, you can be on the show.
That's right.
I told Beth I was going to do it from a rooftop, but it's a little wet today.
Yeah. So and plus the Wi-Fi probably not that good on your hotspot from the top of a roof. But okay.
Yeah, they always tell you to put your router like above you so you can get the signal. So above the router maybe doesn't work as well.
Hey, maybe we can talk him into putting Starlink on his car.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Wouldn't
that would be
nice?
really nice.
Wouldn't that be cool? All right, so we got to dive into these questions now, Jordan. So I'll put the first one up for you, sir.
Yeah. So right now we're talking. I know KBC does many things, but today we're going to talk about roofing, and that is one of the topics that, as we were talking before the show, you can get a lot of people like basically coming in fresh into this industry, and just as Herdy, I put it earlier, just get a few contractors together and suddenly you have a roofing business. But there's a level of knowledge and experience that goes with it, but most importantly, integrity, right? Like, you are going up on the roof and looking at things that most homeowners aren't. Some of them even can't, right? Even if they wanted to get up there, like because of several reasons they could not. So there is a level of trust that goes with it. And the counter side of that, there has to be integrity. So I'm curious as to how you guys go about showing that integrity.
So integrity for us is doing all the right things, even if you can't be fact checked or they can't physically see what you're doing. Doing it because it's the right thing to do and doing it the right way the first time. Is it always profitable? No. Is it always, checked? No. But we do it the right way the first time, and we don't have callbacks. I mean, that's the best thing about, the integrity side of it is if we do it all right the first way, the first time, then we don't have to worry about whether, they're going to be chasing us down 2 years from now or 6 months from now or whenever it may be because it failed again. So integrity for us is, it's part of what we do and how we do it, in and out. Doesn't matter if somebody's watching or not. We do our job the same way every time. And for roofers, the whole insurance deductible, cutting corners, all of that, it is a big, big fight for everyone, because you'll absolutely be able to go out and find a roofer that will cut corners and that's willing to do the job cheaper or undercut me or whatever that may look like. There's always somebody that's willing to do the wrong thing. I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy. So the integrity for us is, like I said, just doing it the right way the first time and giving you the options as a homeowner.
And isn't it nice to know that the clients that you're doing business with, Eric, don't call back all the time, right? That the job's done, right? And so you don't, and it doesn't mean they can't call back if something doesn't come up. It just means it's not a consistent thing, which proves the job's done right.
I'm sure y'all have heard me. Yeah, I'm sure y'all have heard me at the meeting. You know, I tell people, I don't want to be your next roofer. I want to be your
I wanna be
last roofer.
your last roofer. Right. I love that.
Yes, that's
Best
what it
tagline in
is.
the world.
I don't want to be the next one. I want to be the last one. Yeah.
I love that. Great tagline for that too.
Yeah,
So
really ties it in and puts it in perspective.
absolutely. And I think all of us that's been around Eric for quite a while know that I've sat around with him, and I think we sat outside Dirty Job Brewing before and had conversations just about what's going on, and just friendship talk about jobs and stuff, which is cool. At the end of this, I do want you to jump into what you talked to us at the end, what you did without and the framing out a building. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Jordan, here you go. I'll throw this one at you. Now, remember, he can't see them, Jordan, so I'm posting them for you, bud.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just curious how you got started into roofing. I mean, you obviously had a lucrative career at Chili's, right? So what took you out of Chili's into roofing?
I did. I worked at Chili's for a lot of years, and so that's where customer service for me comes from, is being in that. And I worked for a couple of bigger brands, including Chili's and a couple of others, where I was management. So switching over and getting started in roofing, I worked for another company, and I saw how they did things, and they had a lot of good things they taught me, but there's always room for improvement. So I took what they taught me, and when I had the opportunity, I jumped over into my own. And I say my own. My brother is part of it. We own it together. And then my dad is actually the one that started the KBC LLC. So it's all family owned. It's all family operated. And very few people can work with their family. So I feel very blessed for that. So
that was going to be my next follow-up question, was how's it working for family? Because I can imagine that's always the hardest thing to do. I don't think
it's really not that. For us, it's really not. No. Yeah, we do really well together. He's more of the applied, and I'm more of the smile and wave and customer service side of everything. But we both know what each other does, and we both respect what each other does. So as far as how I got started, which was, my parents have been in construction for my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad didn't want me doing construction. He wanted better for me. He wanted something different. So my brother went into it. He worked for a commercial framing company that did commercial framing and jobs, apartment buildings, Starbucks, just little coffee shops, stuff like that, Panera Breads. And when he went off, all of it kind of hit at once, where we were able to do our own. So we started ours and took all the good things from what we had learned, and then kind of tweaked it and said, these are the things that are unnegotiable. We're not going to change this. This is forever what it's going to be. And we kind of stuck to that. So.
Do you have a natural knack for it? Did it come to you being raised around it? Did you have a natural knack for the construction side, or do you feel like you're a raw talent, or did you have natural talent?
I'm gonna say it's natural, but everybody. So I have some friends that know me and really well, and know my family really well, and my sister-in-law and those friends will get together, and they'll give me and my brother a hard time. They'll tell us, "Oh, not everybody was raised like y'all were raised, right? Not everybody's fortunate enough to know, hey, the lawnmower start, we can fix that. Hey, the door doesn't close right, you can fix that. The dishwasher went out. Okay, let's replace it." Not everybody was raised that way, So,
right.
When we joke about it or talk about it, they're like, "Oh, you're a trotter, so it's different." Not everybody knows how to pour concrete.
Right.
So
I think that's cool.
Yeah. I do think that there's a element of just like, you come with those the predisposition for that or not. And it's funny because my dad cannot change a light bulb. My dad's favorite tool was a hammer. And he thought he could use it to fix everything. Whereas, like I, on the other end, like I'm usually pretty handy and can repair quite a bit of things, right? Like our dishwasher broke, so I just took it apart, figured out what was wrong with it, put it back together. But, like, yes, my dad's dishwasher went out. It's like, all right, let's take a hammer to it and get a new one. So
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things that either come to you or not. And you obviously have that. I don't know if to call it like, I don't know if it's the construction gene.
They just see things. They just see.
I don't know, but if you figure it out,
see.
you let me know what it is.
Yeah, right.
If you figure it out, because there's sometimes where I stand back and somebody will ask me how to do something, or how, like, hey, who built that? We built that. We did that. We did that on Saturday and Sunday. Like. So it's kind of weird sometimes to hear that part of it, but everybody has their forte, right?
Yeah,
everybody has
do.
what it is.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's kind of how we built the company.
Right. I'm technical. I understand software when I see stuff and understand that, but I don't understand your end of it for sure. If you took me to IKEA and put a box in front of me and said, build this thing, I'd be throwing it across the room within the first 5 minutes. Okay. I don't have the patience for that stuff. I just don't. And some people can just pick it up and
you made the IT stuff today. Yes. You made the IT stuff really easy today. Just click on the link. I can do this part of it. Right. I don't want anything to do with Google reviews.
No,
chasing a website. I can't do it. I get lost. It's
gotcha.
It's not for me.
Everybody has their niche and they're good at it. That's really the key. So
I am curious though, what do you find challenging about construction? Like, what are some of the challenges you have faced in construction?
So, I think probably the biggest challenge is being able to show somebody the value, right? I can put a number on things, but being able for you as a homeowner to see it as a finished product and educate you where the value came from, that's probably the biggest challenge, because a roof nowadays, if you live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath cookie cutter house, your roof is $18,000, most likely. Not a whole lot of people can put saying that shingle is worth $18,000 or even paying their deductible. They don't see the value in paying that. So educating people on how and why your roof needs to be replaced, why you need an inspection every year, just to stay on top of it and to know what state your property is in. That's probably the biggest part of construction, is relaying what I know into, I don't want to say layman's terms, but something feasible, something that you can understand as a homeowner.
Right.
Yeah. I can totally agree with that. And it's something that I think, Herdy, you and I also experience a lot, is the communicating that value on something that is not immediately tangible, right? You talked earlier about integrity and doing the right things. And sometimes doing the right things is doing things that are more expensive and you can't see why. And maybe next year you won't know, but 4 or 5 years down the road, you'll know exactly why that was the right decision to make. And that can be hard to convey when, it's such an invisible thing.
Well, and plus it doesn't really help your life. It helps keep weather out of your house, right? But it's not like buying groceries and buying a car and buying, you know what I'm saying? And the roof's important, but it doesn't add anything to your life every single day when you walk out the door, right? It's an expense.
Well, I see homeowners, or I see people, right? And they'll say, well, I can do my roof next year. It's not going to be a big deal.
Exactly.
And then 6 months goes by and they give me a call and they're like, hey, I have a water leak and I need you here right now, right? Like, it's raining right now. So especially this time of year. I have people that I did an inspection for in March or April, and now that weather's getting bad, they want to give me a shout. And they're like, "Hey, it's Friday at 4 p.m. I just realized I have water coming in my house. What can you do to fix it?" Well, I can put a tarp up, but other than that, we're going to have to make a claim. We're going to have to go through the process, all of that. So seeing the value in it is very hard to relay to some people because it's things you take for granted. You really don't think you need a new tire until your tire goes flat,
Exactly.
and then you need it right then.
Yeah, you're out of red. What's a red? I'm fine.
So
yeah, it's fine. Don't.
This really doesn't have anything to do. Well, it does a little bit. This question, since we went down this road on the roof thing, you had mentioned before the show. Do you offer some sort of maintenance for folks on specific things, or do you have? I guess I don't really know how to ask this. Maybe you can fill me in.
Well, so
maintenance agreements, or I know you have warranties built into stuff, but is there?
Yeah, we automatically do a warranty. We do a 5-year workmanship warranty with everything that we do to your property. Right. Of course, manufacturers have warranties that go up to 30 years, 40 years, stuff like that. In Texas, you'll never get 30 years out of a roof. No. If you do, I would love to meet you and know that your roof never gave you problems. But as far as the maintenance part of everything, if you call me over as a homeowner, and you have me inspecting your roof every year, and just one of the vents needs to be sealed, or a squirrel got into the soffit or something like that, 9 times out of 10, I'm probably just going to take care of it for you while I'm there doing the inspection, because I work off of referrals. That's all our business is. We don't do marketing, really. So referral and our networking is how we get all of our business.
Gotcha.
I'm probably going to seal that vent. I'm going to, seal the step flashing or whatever it may be. I'm going to take pictures of it, let you know, but I probably have the stuff on my truck to fix it.
Right.
So gotcha. I think Kimberly out of the Mansfield group, she had me come over, look at hers. I did the same thing for her. I sealed everything on the roof, told her, hey, you're good to go. Don't let any other roofer tell you need a new roof yet, because you really don't. And she's been just fine ever since I did it. But I'm not going to charge it. I'm not going to do that. If it's 10 minutes out of my life or an hour out of my life or whatever it may be to prevent you from having to pay a deductible to redo your whole roof or come out of pocket for it, it's completely worth my time.
Yeah, and I imagine a client like that's going to go out of their way to refer you when the time comes up when somebody says, hey, because they're going to remember that. And that's the beauty of service, right? That's what we talk about all the time in the industry. Service, which is good. All right. So yeah, I'm curious about this one, Jordan. And let me explain to Jordan, I just put the key words in this, Jordan. So what the original question was a customer calls, he's on his way, he's going to meet with them. And so basically education, the process. How does he work directly with the client that just said, called, I need a roof, or I need to talk to you, or I need to come out and do something? So what is your process?
Process is answer the phone, give their address, go out there. We're headed out there. If it is determined that they need a new roof and it's going to be an insurance claim, then we tell them that we'll meet the adjuster out there to make sure that they're taken care of and insurance pays for what they're supposed to pay for. I'm not an insurance adjuster. I can just tell you from a contractor standpoint what should be done and why it should be done. So education on the process. So when that insurance adjuster shows up, you're not blindsided and he doesn't tell you, oh yeah, we're just going to rip off the shingles and replace them. That's what we're going to pay for. Well, they may rip off the shingles and replace them, but you want to make sure that if your window screens are busted, if your AC got damaged, if your vents got messed up, all of that's included on there. The big part for me is educating the homeowner to know that you don't write a check to a contractor until you have material or people standing there ready to do the work. Do
In
not
other
write a
words,
check. Do not.
yeah, don't write a check at the door just because they came and said we'll fix it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and well, even beyond that, you know, if your contractor cannot provide the materials or has the labor to do that beforehand, their company's probably not solvent, right? Like we're a
I would
debt-free
call that
company. Yes, that's a red flag, right?
that's
So
a red flag because a
And
good company
can
is going to
you
have this stuff. Yeah,
that is actually a really good point,
it
and some of
is.
that I
Think
think
about it.
people don't know about it until you have probably been on the wrong end of this. So can you
uh-huh.
elaborate a little bit about that? Because this happens a lot.
Yes. So there are companies, you know, and even my contract says it, you know, typically, you know, if it's a roofing deal, it will be, you know, we take an ACV check or we take the deductible up front or anything like that. And I say up front, that is the day that you sign the contract, knowing that we're going to do work and we are there, right? I'm not chasing you down. I'm not begging you to sign a contract and give me a check and, hey, we'll be back on Thursday. The Thursday that we show up to do your roof is when you have material there. That's when I have it scheduled for delivery. That's when we start doing work. We stand in the driveway. We shake hands again. You hand me a check. We tear it off. You get a new roof that day. That's
It.
what it is.
Perfect.
Um, you shouldn't have to. And this comes from we run a debt-free company, right? We have accounts with everywhere, you know, all of our suppliers, all of our vendors, stuff like that. We don't use the credit we have with them. We pay them. As soon as they send us an invoice, it's done, it's out, it's paid. There's no fear of a lien on your property or, you know, a year or 2 years from now when you go to sell your property, oh, Jim Bob over here has a lien against your property for a roof you
Yeah.
paid him for. There's none of that. So, I mean, and
And
that's stuff you can't really, you know, hide. You know, if you've gone or if you've had an experience with a bad contractor, I mean, all I want to do is tell you that I'm not that guy, but the education and all of that part up front kind of changes everybody's point of view towards me as a contractor.
yeah, and I
So,
would say that is such an important point for people that are looking at contracted services, right? Is that
mhm,
is the right way to do it. That should be the way that somebody gives a company like yours a check. Is it if the materials are supplied, if it's everything's there up front ready to go, right? Not 2 weeks
mhm.
before, we'll come back the following Thursday in a month and we'll have everything. But today we need half down, right? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Scream it from the rooftops. I'll help you.
Okay,
Please don't hire a
jump out of your
contractor.
truck, jump out of your truck, run up the roof and go, don't do that.
Yeah. Now I will say roofing is different from general construction. If we do the
I
building side of
understand.
things,
I understand
there
that.
is definitely a deposit, but
Yes.
again, it's a draw system. It's not us asking for money up front or you not
Right.
knowing where it
Well,
goes.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like earnest money, where you're drawn out of it, to commit to the job. And I've got
Yeah.
that. That's different, but not when somebody comes to your front door and says, "Yeah, if you give me half down today, we'll be back in 2 weeks." Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Which
you
which
got.
is a good lead into we're not door knockers. I don't
Yeah.
knock on doors that I don't know, right?
Right.
If you didn't send me your address, email or text message, if we didn't have that conversation first, I'm not knocking on your door. I'm not asking you, "Hey, I saw that you have a missing shingle. Wouldn't you like a new roof?" I'm not that guy. I'll never be that guy either. I I'm not a door knocker.
Yeah. In today's world, that's probably not a really smart thing to do anyhow. So,
I will agree.
especially in Texas. So,
Yes.
you know, be careful. Tell us a little bit about, and Jordan, I put some more keywords in here. I'm sure you can figure it out. Kind of jumping into some of the different things that they do, right? Remodels, flips.
And the cost
Cost,
factors
and
associated with
cost.
all of those. Yeah, for sure. Because I know many people are going through remodels. You know, the roof is an important one. I know, I mean, firsthand, I know in a flip, like the roof can either make you or break you if you don't factor that correctly. So, yeah, give us a little bit of insight on those.
Remodeling is what it is. It is usually a want instead of a need when you remodel, right? As far as functionality goes. So those are a little more in depth with lots of FaceTime with a homeowner explaining, this finish versus that finish, what level of finishes you want. Flips, I work with a bunch of realtors. I actually live in a flip that we did for a realtor. We got done with it, and I was like, "Hey, I just want to buy this." So, I already knew the guy that did all of it, so I might
That's
as well,
perfect.
buy it.
You
So
liked it,
I mean,
yeah.
that speaks to what it is, right? I live in what we do. Um, Flips are usually investment properties, stuff like that, with realtors or investors, and we know how to work with a really tight budget. I don't want to blast that and say that that's the biggest takeaway for this, but we can make a budget go really far because we can tell you kind of or guide you. This
Mhm.
works, that works. This will get you more money. This will turn into, dollars in your pocket versus this is just pretty and shiny type of thing. Um,
So,
Cost is always a big thing, for
right.
us, cost is a huge thing. We're doing a new build out in Granbury right now
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear about this.
Yeah.
This
on
is
a
cool.
home. Yes. And ARV on the property, average retail value for the property in that area is somewhere between like 317 and 385. I think we're going to be well below budget and be able to hit that mark for our investors. It's going to turn out to be where they're making, 100% profit on what they're investing, which
That's
is
awesome.
amazing for
Yeah.
them, but us as builders, it's also knowing that we can stay in that market to where first time home buyers can have an option and we can kill that budget and then being in a brand new property versus something that has to be rehabbed or remodeled or dumping a ton of money into that they're not going to see money back out of that. So that's our new venture, is to be um, consultants instead of full GCs. We can obviously still handle the full GC part of it, but consulting on a project to where you as a homeowner, if you want to build, whether that be a barndominium or a stick frame house or, just whatever it is, we can do all of those things and we're confident in what we do. But you get to write a check as a homeowner. You get to see how much you paid the plumbing, how much you paid for electrical work, what the foundation cost, what the siding cost, and then we just collect a fee for consulting and making sure that
Sure,
those
that's
budget
all done
numbers
right. Yeah.
and that it was all done right. We walk the job, just as an inspector would, but we're there on site while the framing crew is working. We're there on site while the foundation is being poured. We're there on site when the roof is going on, and you still get control of where
Right.
your budget went and where your dollars were spent.
So
So,
that makes you a great project manager on site during a project. So yeah, so
yes.
that's the ultimate way to do that. So I want to ask you a question about flips. A lot of people are doing these today. A lot of people, are remodeling. What happens if you get into a job and you discover something that you couldn't see? Right? Do you have contingencies for explaining to them that this could be 10% more, 20% more, 20% less, depending, or do you build room into that? Let's say
So
termites
we
are in the
build
house and you don't find
as
them.
ours. Yeah, on ours or in what we take part in, we always tell them we have one that right now it's in Midlothian, and they've they want to completely redo the roof line on their house. They want to completely remodel 3,000 square foot. They want to add about another 1,000 square foot as it sits right now.
Big project.
They have a budget, Yes, it's a very big project, but they have a budget. They told us their budget number. And for example, if they said, hey, we want to spend $250,000, we said, hey, that's great. We'd love to help you spend $250,000, but you really only have 225 because 10% of your budget is automatically gone for the things we can't see.
Right.
Thank you. For the load bearing wall that's not supposed to be load bearing, for the panel that they hid things and
the wall, or a bad plumbing job you found, or whatever.
Yes, any and all of that, which not everything can turn into that slush fund, but for the things that we can't see and that aren't, they're almost like fixed costs where you can't get around them, permitting, the stuff that you really can't see until you uncover it, the electrical, the panel may look great and it may pass inspection when everything's covered up. But when we go to tear off all this sheetrock and everything, and then we find out they just put new ends on all the wires and they didn't rewire the house, that could be a $20,000 whoopsie.
It could be.
Sure we tell them, and we make sure that it's realistic to know that if you have, $100,000 budget, then you really have a $90,000 budget. And if you have a $200,000 budget, you really only have 180, because 10% of that just needs to kind of sit over here, and you can add things at the
emergency money.
Yeah.
Right.
When we know that everything is good and we stuck to our budget, you can always add more fancy things.
Right, back in.
Yes, but you can't really take them once you commit to them. You can't really take them away. Right. And we don't want to have that conversation with a homeowner. Hey, you wanted a fully stocked bar and wine fridge and all the extras, and now that's not an option because you have to pay for electrical work. So yeah,
that could definitely happen. Another thing I wanted to also underscore for people watching is the difference between a roof, particularly that we're focusing on that. This kind of applies to everything, but roofs are really a high ticket item on a home. The difference between a roof done by a flip versus the roof done by the homeowner. All right, like there's a bit of a difference in quality and budget in there, and I'd love for your advice, particularly for people that may have bought a house from a flipper that maybe did not know the reputation.
So I'll say this: most people who are flipping houses, they have one thing in mind when they're flipping houses:
profit.
And we can all probably say it together. Yeah, profit. It's profit. It comes down to dollars for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say this sets us apart, but it kind of really does set us apart. Is the integrity part of it? Is I'm not going to put a roof on just to save your profit numbers. If it's not right, I will roof a house. I don't mind roofing a house, but I'm not going to use a discontinued shingle. I'm not going to do a layover. I'm not going to not tear it down to the decking and not be able to see the decking for what I'm putting the new shingle on for. And my investors, the people that I work with, the realtors that I work with, they know exactly what that is, And I'm not going to say they've never done it, because everybody has, a dark skeleton in their closet. But I personally have never done it, and I'm not going to cut corners. And sometimes they're a little mad at me, which it's part of the game, it's part of what it is. But anything that we put our name on or do is not going to be one of those, oh, well, we saved $2,000 on this whole roof, but it's going to cost the homeowner in 5 years. It's going to cost them, $10,000 later on. So there are ways that flippers go around doing the right thing. and it still looks like a fine product. And, there are things realtors can do or say or whatever to kind of push it through. But I'm very upfront and forward about what it is. So I don't have to compromise my expectations or my values to please those people. We just, like I said, we run on referrals. So I'm not worried about that part of my business. It kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, and good work always does. And with that said, I want to thank you, Eric, for taking time out of an extremely busy day, right? And filling in
Yeah.
on an emergency basis. That was awful kind of you. I'm going to direct people to, if they do want to find you online, you are on Facebook at KBC Construction LLC. Go check up Eric. But man, if you guys ever need work done from a referral basis from Eric, highly recommend him. He's one of the cool guys that I got to first meet when we were in a small, remember when the group used to just be 12 people, Eric?
Yeah, it's been a long time since that.
It's been a long time, but that was really cool. And listen, we'll get you a copy of this out and we'll get it on YouTube. Jordan, follow-up stuff, anything?
Yeah, I have one more question for you.
Here we
For
go.
people listening to us, either live or the recording, and their heart's beating really fast because they're like, "Oh shit, I bought my house from a flipper, and this guy was sleazy as hell." I think you have a potential call from a client. So, what is your process when a potential client calls? Maybe in a panic.
Well, one, if they're living in the house, don't panic. There's some substance there, so don't panic. And the good thing about construction is it can all be fixed. Like it can all be fixed. It's not a complete loss. It's never a total loss. There are creative ways to figuring out what fits in your budget and what really needs to happen. But I hope nobody's in that position. I would hope nobody's ever in that position. Hopefully your realtor did what they were supposed to ensure that you bought a property that was at least sustainable, But if you are in that position, give me a call. We can talk about it. We can figure out, even if you just want peace of mind and you want me to come and check out the property, I can do that. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't bother me to go out and at least educate you on where you stand and, from just a knowledge perspective. It doesn't have to be all business. I can just give you the knowledge.
And I'm going to make sure, Eric, that we post your contact information inside the description box in the YouTube box locally, right? So if people need to get a hold of you, they can. Do you want me to post a phone number, or do you want me to post your an email? How do you prefer to be contacted?
Oh, you can post my phone number. It's everywhere. If you go on the Facebook page,
Right.
It's everywhere. Yeah, all my stuff is public. So
we'll put your phone number. We'll put your phone number so it's easy for folks to find you. But we want to thank you for being on. And guys, thank you for being on the Mansfield Buzz. It's Thursday. We're on every Thursday at 2:00. I think next week, Jordan, we talk about the bridal bunch with Kimberly Jones. So we'll have a whole ton of different show next week, but we're live every Thursday at 2:00. So we will see you on the Mansfield Buzz next week. Eric, sit tight for 1 minute after the show and we'll review this with you. But everybody have a great day. Jordan, welcome back.
I'm happy to be back.
All right. Bye.